Deep inside a lush, green jungle, where towering trees kissed the clouds and rivers sang sweet melodies all day long, lived two little sparrows. One was named Roo, and the other, Biru. They were brothers, small in size, but their hearts were as big as the jungle itself. Roo was a blur of motion, fast, brave, and full of fiery spirit. Biru, on the other hand, was calm, clever, and always seemed to be thinking 3 steps ahead. Every morning, the two brothers would take to the sky, racing the wind, their laughter echoing as they zipped from one branch to another. But even with all the love between them, they argued a lot. "I'm the fastest bird in the entire jungle," Roo would often boast, puffing out his chest. Biru would just shake his head gently. "Speed without thinking just leads to trouble, brother," he would reply. Their little spats were never serious, but one day, that was all about to change. It was a hot, hazy afternoon, and a buzz of excitement filled the air. All the animals had gathered near the great banyan tree. The mighty lion, the mischievous monkey, the graceful deer, and even the tiniest ants were there. In the very center of the crowd stood Daru the turtle. Daru was ancient, Daru was slow, but more than anything, Daru was wise. His voice, calm and steady, carried through the clearing. "I challenge the jungle," he said, "to a race." A wave of laughter rippled through the crowd. A turtle, in a race? The monkey giggled from a high branch. "You'll need a year to finish." The fox chimed in with a sly grin. But Daru simply raised his head, his old eyes twinkling. "This is not a race of legs," he explained. "It is a race of the mind, of teamwork, and of the heart." Roo flapped his wings, annoyed. "This is ridiculous, Biru. Come on, we could beat him in seconds." But Biru was hesitant. "Let's not be so proud, Roo. We should understand the rules of the race first." The lion then stood and announced the course. "The race will cross the entire jungle, starting from the river. You must pass through the dark forest, climb over the rocky hill, and return right back here. The winner would be crowned the champion of the jungle." Before Biru could say another word, Roo shot forward and shouted, "We accept." The jungle erupted in cheers. That night, the argument between the brothers was worse than ever before. "You embarrassed us," Biru said, his voice laced with disappointment. "You're just afraid," Roo shouted back, his pride wounded. "I'm being careful," Biru insisted. "And I'm being brave," Roo yelled. Angry and hurt, Roo flew off to find a separate branch to sleep on. Biru watched the pale moon rise, a lonely feeling creeping into his heart. For the first time, he whispered to the night, "We are not together." As the first rays of sunrise painted the sky, the race began. Daru, the turtle, started walking slow, steady, and silent. Roo, however, shot into the sky like a feathered arrow. "I'll be back before noon," he laughed, leaving a gust of wind in his wake. Biru followed, but at a more measured pace, his sharp eyes scanning everything around him. As Ju zipped near the river, he flew too low, showing off in a flash. A huge crocodile leaped from the water, its jaws snapping shut. Roo swerved just in time, but the crocodile's teeth grazed his wing. He cried out in pain. A moment later, Biru landed beside him, carrying some healing leaves in his beak. He gently tended to Roo's scratched wing. "Why are you helping me?" Roo asked, surprised. "Because we are brothers," Biru said softly. With that, they flew on this time, together. Next came the dark forest. It was a thick, spooky place, filled with strange sounds and deep shadows. Suddenly, a giant owl with silent wings swooped down from the darkness. Roo panicked, flying wildly in every direction. But Biru remained calm. "Follow my voice, Roo. This way," he cried out. Working together, they weaved and dodged, confusing the great owl, until he gave up and flew away. Roo landed on a branch, breathing heavily. I couldn't have done that alone," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. Far, far behind them, Daru kept walking. Step, step, step. Their next challenge was the rocky hill. It was steep, and a fierce wind pushed against them with every beat of their wings. Roo, trying to make up for lost time, tried to race ahead, but his energy was spent. He collapsed onto a ledge, exhausted. Biru landed beside him. "Lean on me, brother," he said. Slowly, supporting each other, they climbed the rest of the way. From the very top of the hill, they looked down towards the finish line and saw something that made their hearts stop. Daru, the slow and steady turtle, was almost there. "How?" Roo whispered in disbelief. Biru just smiled. He never stopped. Just as they neared the finish line, the sky turned dark. A sudden storm broke out. Rain fell in sheets and the wind howled. trying to tear them from the sky. Ru and Biru looked at each other. There was a new understanding in their eyes. "No more fighting," Ru said. "And no more pride," Biru agreed. They flew low to the ground, taking turns leading the way, each one shielding the other from the worst of the wind. With one final, powerful push, they flew across the finish line together. A few moments later, Daru arrived, looking as calm as ever. The entire jungle held its breath. The lion stepped forward and spoke. The sparrows arrived first. The crowd exploded in cheers, but Daru just smiled peacefully. He looked at the two brothers. "You won the race," he said kindly, "but I hope you learned the lesson." Ru bowed his head, humbled. "I learned that speed is nothing without teamwork." Biru looked at his brother and added, "And I learned that wisdom means trusting each other." Daru nodded his ancient head. "Then all three of us are winners today." From that day forward, Ru and Biru never fought out of pride again. They flew together, they planned together, and they won together. And to this day, the jungle still tells the story of the two sparrows who fought, who learned, and who, by working together, truly won the great jungle race. Thanks for watching.